I'm going to pick up my van. It has been a long couple of weeks without it. I think it's ready. I think I hear it running even. Oh boy. After about 10 days without my van, I was finally able to get it back. I don't realize how much I appreciate having the van until it's gone. It will often just sit in a parking spot nearby my apartment for days on end. But in the back of my head, I always know it's there when and if I need it. But for the last week and a half, I hadn't had that convenience, and I felt it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. Finally. This feels like it's been forever. I'm so happy right now. So much stress is gone from my body finally. Po. Po. Shumë faleminderit.
Atë pjesën e ditër e Morioni, e kisha folur tek Joni.
Po.
Ajo ishte.
E di. Por.
Po të prova.
Okay. Pafshë.
Mirë.
And it's not just about having a car. It's about my car, specifically. If I had a different car, I wouldn't have the same level of freedom in where I could drive to. Recently, I had been contemplating getting rid of the van and getting a smaller car to save money on fuel prices. But after the past week or so, I definitely don't think that will happen.
Oh my goodness. The pedal feels so easy to push now. I'm not used to this. Wow. Wow.
One of my favorite parts of being on basketball teams when I was younger was the friendships that I built with some of my teammates. When I was really young, there was a kid that I knew that I really disliked. We would get in fights at camp and constantly try to one-up each other whenever we crossed paths. But as I got older, he and I played basketball together and formed a friendship that's been going strong for at least 2 decades. So when I signed to play on the Pogradec basketball team, I was looking forward to the potential bonds that could be formed with teammates. Then, when we had 2 players, Monty and Snell, come from the US, I realized that having that somewhat similar background could be foundational in chemistry on the court. I did my best to help them feel as welcome as possible in this unfamiliar environment, because I know exactly what it's like being plopped into the middle of the Balkans, more or less alone. Even though it seemed like the preseason had just started, it was time for the first game. When I was playing in college in the US, game days felt different. Because I still had my normal class schedule, the games felt like something that got added on at the end of a regular day. But with this game, it felt like the only thing that mattered that day. I used to have some kind of pre-game routine, but with this being such a different situation, I had to form something new. So after spending some time in the gym stretching and getting loose, I met Monty and Snell at their lunch spot and was off to the gym to start warming up my body. Nerves are setting in. I thought that at this age I wouldn't feel like this anymore about basketball. But I'm wrong. 32 years old. Still get nervous before games. I'm so excited though. I'm so excited. This looks really good, by the way. I went into the game feeling my nerves. It's normal for me to have nerves before basketball games. It's been that way since I first started playing. But these nerves were different. Being before my first game as a professional, I felt another level of expectation weighing on me that I haven't felt before. But as with all those other times, as soon as the ball was thrown up for the opening tip, it faded away as the adrenaline took over. I've played on some teams throughout my career that weren't great. I've lost by embarrassing large amounts. But that first game against the team from Korcha was without a doubt one of the worst basketball games I have ever been a part of. Just total dysfunction and lack of any form of unity on the court. Open passes weren't thrown, entire quarters went by without some players touching the ball, and to make matters worse, it seemed like Korcha was firing on all cylinders. They shot an impressive percentage in the first half, largely because of our defensive breakdowns, allowing layup after layup. Don't get me wrong, there were people playing well, and Monty and Snell both had pretty good games scoring-wise. But our team as a whole couldn't get anything going. We have a long way to go from here, but at least we know where we've started. We started losing by too much to a team that hadn't won a game in the last 2 years. There's only one thing to do. Put our heads down and keep moving forward. There's literally only one way to go from here. It's been over 10 years since the last basketball game I've played, and I thoroughly underestimated the toll it would take on my body. So when Nikolai mentioned that he had a friend in town and they wanted to go up into the mountains to cook some lunch, I was more than happy to join. I needed the rest.
As big as it actually is, like on the camera. Hey there, guys. What you doing?
Spending time outside at this time of year is restoring. The air is fresh and crispy, but the cloudless skies allow for the heat of the sun to keep you warm as the cool breeze brushes against your skin. It's the epitome of fall weather. I just carry it in case I really don't want to take the time.
About trying to convince my dad to come, but we both agreed with that. The honey barbecue and then the New York style steakhouse. So we'll see.
When I lived in the US, it seemed rare to meet people from other countries. Every once in a while, my dad would have a house guest from some obscure country, and I was always fascinated by the stories that they would tell about where they lived. I loved that just by living in Europe, with so many different countries and cultures, less than 2 hours away by plane, I'm routinely exposed to people from all over the world.
But this is not beer. It's koffeinhaltig orangen lemonade mit cola.
Thank you, Nico. So the three of us, 2 Germans and an American, sat atop the mountain in Albania, grilling pork belly and testing out different barbecue sauces that Nikolai had brought when he had returned from Germany, while chatting about places we've been and things we've done and places we want to go.
Yeah, we listened to him when we were driving in Germany.
Do you ever pay attention?
Almost never.
Gute Kamis.
Was it just Peter? It's just Peter's footprints. That one is almost a salsa. That's interesting. Yeah, it smells very tomatoey.
Nikolai's friend has spent time all over the world, including doing some massive road trips through continents, so it was inspiring to hear his stories.
Landscape photos. Oh man, the light is incredible.
And the next week went by quickly, working, going to practice, and hanging out. Then, seemingly overnight, it was time to play another game. So I drove myself to Tirana to get some things that I've been needing for a while, and then I backtracked a bit to Elbasan.
They don't always do like incredible numbers and engagement, but they have a real dialed in.
Despite the final score being worse than the first game, it seemed like we played a bit better this game. We didn't look as disjointed as we did against Korcha, and there was a bit more flow to our offense. But Elbasan was a better team than us that night, so in the end, they came out on top. If I look at the last two games in comparison to one another, we had some improvements. We also had things that didn't go as well, and our shooting percentages were bad. We have a long way to go and a lot to learn and figure out as a team. But it's a long season, so there's plenty of time for improvement. One step at a time. And because that game was on a Friday night, I headed to Tirana to spend the weekend, doing some scouting for an upcoming game and trying out a new restaurant. Monday morning rolled around, it was back on the road to Pogradec. I spent a lot of time over the weekend thinking about adjustments I can make in how I play basketball, so that I can be as impactful for my team as possible. And I was chomping at the bit to get back into the gym and get back to work. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll be back soon.